I wanted to talk about what I think is the largest disruption that's going to be caused by technology in human history. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? It's AI. Thank you very much. So that concludes my talk. But, you're not going to get off that easy. But there's an epic tidal wave of change that's about to remake the whole landscape of our reality. And it's a common pattern through history, and we've seen it with something as simple as one person doing a job with conventional tools and getting conventional results. But then technology arrives, and now that same one person has enormous impact, much more productive, much cheaper, and they can achieve the objective with much less effort, much less time and money. And so, in that sense, we've seen this before, where we have technology that magnifies human capability. And we've seen this across many different areas of human existence, starting with, as we saw, muscle power, energy, travel, distance, transportation, communication, how we do that across time and space, how we preserve and share information with memory, extending that capability, calculation, perception, what we're able to observe. We even have a process that we call the technology life cycle. So this is well documented, well understood, and is something we can even predict. Here's how it's going to unfold. So in that sense, we've seen this before. What AI is about to do, it's happened in the past. However, we've not seen this before. We've never had technology that extended or magnified the most human capabilities of cognition, of thinking, of intelligence. And so here's some of the dimensions of human cognition that AI is now magnifying: reasoning, creativity, communication, learning. And all of those are being magnified at once. And so that's unprecedented. And that's the X factor right now that makes this so impactful, so unusual, and I think is going to end up being so disruptive. And so in addition to the fact that we've never had anything that magnified this capability before, we've never had anything that moved this quickly, that changed this rapidly. You can't read the fine print details, but this is one of the many measures of intelligence that we have used to assess how AI is progressing. But what this graph does show is how rapidly it's progressing, but also how many players are involved in this. And so some of the things you see is how rapidly it's improving, starting down around 0, 10, moving up to 90 on this. This is a blended scale of like 10 different metrics. But you see the big winners out there, many competitors, and this is just a few of them, just a tiny handful. And then you see ChatGPT. It's been a common pattern for a long while. ChatGPT kind of always, they're the black line, always kind of, they're up at the top. But then just recently, the end of last year, Google's Gemini took the lead. And the models are kind of converging at the moment until the next breakout, where they will continue growing, is the expectation. But Gemini's performance was concerning enough to Sam Altman of OpenAI that he called a code red on that. And so again, just the pace of change. This is a list of the major AI vendors and their releases just last year. So again, the point is so much brain power, so many different organizations working so quickly to update, advance, and progress. And that's just unprecedented. Another thing that you've probably seen before is just how rapidly ChatGPT, that's kind of the flagship model that everybody's familiar with, how quickly they went from 0 to 100 million users, less than 3 months. Never in history had anything grown that quickly to reach that many users. And it didn't slow down. ChatGPT, they're now used by, as of last week, 900 million people. Almost 1 billion humans now use one model. And again, it's just one. So the point is that it's grown so quickly, been adopted by so many people. But then what's fueling all of this? It takes enormous amounts of capital. Again, unprecedented in terms of the speed of capital infusion. Over the 11 years leading up to 2024, the US, as the main investor country, had put in $471 billion, invested that into the AI industry. For next year, 4 American firms alone are now planning to spend $650 billion in 1 year. And so, again, in terms of the growth, the investment, the capital, the brain power, it's unprecedented. We've never had so many humans working on developing and implementing any technology like this. Something else that is unprecedented is who are we targeting with this capability? AI is not digging holes. I mean, it may now tell you where to dig the holes, but AI is focused on the high-value work. So my background's software engineering, aerospace for 10 years, Wall Street finance, and then a financial tech startup, then an education tech startup. And so as a software engineer, I always thought that software engineering, we'd be the ones turning the lights out as the automation continued to empty the room of humans, because we were the ones writing the models. And yet, just very recent months, the AI capabilities have reached a point where a lot of the world's biggest tech companies and a lot of the world's most productive coders, they don't code anymore. They use the AI models. Here's the guy that is the creator of Claude Code. That's the most popular coding AI that's being used right now. And as of November, he said, I don't write any code. He's written code his entire career. He said, all of it's written by Claude Code, and I've never enjoyed coding as much as I do now because I don't have to mess with the minutia, all the gunky details. And AI has made him and his team profoundly more productive. And if you think the market's not paying attention to that, you would be wrong. The first part of this year, all of the software tech stocks, that industry has lost over $1 trillion of market cap because investors are saying that we're not going to need it as much, it's overpriced, it's all about to get disrupted. So this is just one small industry. Now, it's a big, important one in tech, but that's just one example of the disruption. So let's shift from saying, okay, there's a tidal wave coming. Let's shift to thinking about, okay, what do we do? What should we be doing if we're on the coast watching the tidal wave come in? Let's think about what's worked in the past. And one thing that has worked is asking the right questions. What should we be thinking about right now as we prepare for this tsunami that's about to reset things? And one common question that you hear a lot right now is AI going to take that job? Am I going to have a job? How many jobs is it going to replace? Well, those are urgent, important questions, but those are questions that generate fear, not thoughtful action. So as you young people are planning your careers, let me share with you some questions that I think will serve you well as you prepare. And so one good question to say, how much more capable can I become with AI? And then what will I do with that capability? Because it's coming, it's inevitable. So how can you use it and benefit from it? So here's 5 quick questions that are time-tested, even if it's a cyborg that's now contemplating them. First type of question is utility and application. Learn about it, understand it. What does it do? What can I do with it? Second, learning and human augmentation. I'm in education technology. I think about this all the time. And one of the things as I think about my grandchildren, what skills, what mindset, I loved Katie's talk earlier about that. What skills and mindset should we be adopting and preparing? Because what new skills and roles are going to emerge with this change? Third one, every new technology revolution always brings risks, always has dangers, always has unintended consequences. This will be no different. In some ways, it's going to be worse because everything will be magnified. And so be aware of the dangers and the risks. Consider those as well. Economic value. What's going to become cheap, easily available? It's no longer, society doesn't pay a premium for that. Nobody digs holes with shovels anymore. So that whole class of jobs went away. What becomes scarce and valuable? The core human skills are going to be more valuable than ever. Critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, collaboration, communication, all these really innate, powerful human skills, they're still going to be valuable. And then finally, strategic integration, whether you're an individual or a company, how do I adapt to this change? How do I adopt it and then magnify my capabilities? So any talk I give about AI, I always include this 3-word quote as a powerful caution as this new world comes to us. And that is, never delegate understanding. Charles Eames is a famous architect, designer, philosopher. He shared that about 60 years ago, and it's long before AI was a thing, but it could not be more relevant. Don't give up the top-level cognitive control, the structure. And I'll leave you with a final image that I think is an optimistic, beautiful metaphor for the role that each of us can take as this AI tsunami comes. And that is the role of a conductor. The conductor is the one that decides what the orchestra is going to play. The conductor decides, is this good? Is this bad? We need a little more of this, less of that. You're not going to work for the orchestra. They decide who to invite in. And the conductor, now that we have all of these AI orchestra members that we can invite in to solve our challenge, help with our priorities, be the conductor for your life and your career.